Hi everyone, Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. To my subscribers, I thank you, and to those who haven't yet, hope you do. I just completed my 38th year coaching football. I was a defensive coordinator, but over that time, I've also been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, longtime head coach. All of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. Today, in this presentation, I want to talk to you about one of our RPO coverages out of both our base and rotate tags that we call orange. Okay, orange. Now, orange is the front, the stunt, and the coverage. Okay, all wrapped into one call. So it's really good against, especially an up tempo team. We use Syracuse orange. We just use Florida orange juice. Anything on a signboard, or I just signal this. If it's an up tempo, the kids know orange means everything: front, stunt, coverage. Okay, as well as the adjustments. Or it's a call that I can make. All right, but either way, it's just that's it. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to show this to you versus an 11 personnel 2x2 formation that we call Dallas D doubles. Right, you have to see my base playlist. And the two is the halfback is offset to the tight end. Okay, so the key terms here, like orange. If you go to my RPO coverages playlist, you'll see there's a gray read in there. Well, orange is the exact same as gray read, except it's opposite, hence orange. Okay, it's opposite, meaning the pressure is opposite the halfback, okay, or wide receiver, what we call mob, which I'm going to go over with you, okay? Pull call, which means it's a skip pull, which is definitely an alert to the opposite side defensive end, so he doesn't have to worry about frictioning and wrong spilling and prying, okay, because they're not trapping him, they are trapping or blocking, I should say, the play side linebacker. All right. What's meant by patch and spill? You patch the first high wall, spill the second. Well, that comes into play here in this blocking scheme. What's meant by add a gap? Anytime a blocker is added to the surface side, like here, you have a puller, that adds a gap. So how do you account for that additional gap? And we'll show you that both on the first level as well as second level with the linebackers. Okay? What's meant by mob, which for us is it's wide receiver motion, okay, into the backfield. Motion into backfield. I know it should maybe say mib, but mib doesn't make any sense. Mob is a word in our language. So Mac is wide receiver motion across. Mac and mob is the wide receiver. So it's motion across, motion into the backfield. And then with that brings a structure change. So then a structure change is the backfield set goes from one back to two back. That's a structure change. Okay. And so here we go. Up top, I have base. Okay. Just no motion. And then I have rotate tag. Again, same formation, no motion, same everything. Ball's in the middle of the field in all four diagrams. On the bottom left, I have base again, but this time versus a mob motion. And on the right, again, rotate are both on the right. Rotate tag versus, again, mob mode. Okay, the mob. So how it, changes our thinking. Okay, remember, orange, blitz opposite the halfback or blitz opposite the mob. Okay? Because we're anticipating, the tendency tells us this is a power read. Okay, power read. So with that, here we go. So first of all, I'm going to start up here on the base left, and then I'm going to go to the right, then start again down here, base left to the right. So base, rotag, base, rotag. So first of all, up here, let me just show you what's happening. Okay, the coverage. Is gray 4, which is our base match quarters coverage. Okay, so for all four of these diagrams, the defensive backs, they're playing gray 4. Okay? And once I bring in how the blitz and the defensive line factor in with the pressure, what impact that has on the free safety over number two. In this case, over number two. Okay, but that's the first thing. The front is our base 50, right? 3-4 look, 8-4-0-4 up front. Everything's the same, right? Remember, it's the front, it's the coverage, and it's the stunt. So now let's bring in the stunt. So so now I'm going to do the stunt reaction to the stunt, to the stunt and reaction to the blocking scheme. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to do that in green. Okay, so right off the bat, the outside linebacker away from the back is screaming, Ringo, Ringo, Ringo. This is an outside linebacker pressure. Okay, the defensive line automatically slants to the lucky Ringo. Okay, so D-line slant to lucky Ringo. So in this case, it's Ringo. So I'll do them first. Okay, remember slant. If you see my rifle package playlist, all three defensive linemen are slanting, penetrating in the same direction to the lucky Ringo call. Okay, so now let me talk to you about the blitz. This is orbit. His aiming point is the near hip of the quarterback. So on the snap of the ball, he's not reading surface right. He's blitzing what we would call a D crash because he has force. It's orbit. D crash. So that means he has, it might be hard to read, he has the outside portion of the power read, the running back. See, the power read, there's an outside portion of it and there's an inside portion of it. Okay? The dog blitzer who has force takes the outside portion of it. Okay, so now up top here, the running back is the outside portion of it. I mean, I realize there are different ways they can do it. They can read the defensive end. They can read the quarterback. He can read the inside. I mean, I understand all that. I'm only drawing it up this one way. So he's doing the shuffle read, right? And he either gives it to the running back, so there's the outside run, or he pulls it, keeps it. Now he becomes the inside run. Okay? So he takes the outside run. And we're hoping that the quarterback doesn't see the blitz, gives it, and boom, we got a major collision. Okay? But even if he does, or he just reads that the defensive end is slanting up the field, so he pulls it, we're trying to dictate the quarterback's read here. The defensive end on the side of the blitz. So, in other words, the defensive end closest to the lucky Ringo, whenever it's a Ringo, it will be the stud. If it were a lucky, as you'll see down here, it's going to be the end. They play the quarterback, so it's like the shuffle technique. He's going to slant and sit, and then he's going to be able to fold in and play the quarterback. Okay, so it's going to be a shuffle read. If he sees the quarterback doesn't have it, he can peel if he needs to or get up in on the tackle in the back. Otherwise, he's hoping to fold in and help on the quarterback. Okay? So we are because we're blitzing the outside linebacker who has force and should be able to take the outside portion of the power read by himself with some help from the defensive end if possible. And he's also got a safety in a corner there, so he's not totally alone. We have really dedicated an awful lot of help on the quarterback. Quarterback, 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 halfback. Okay? Quarterback, 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 halfback. So that's three, right? That's three, and that's not including bending, peeling, defensive lineman on the first level. Okay, so here is the skip pull. What we usually see is a block back by the center to prevent him from bending, which I'll get to, which means you got to have a down block on the nose. And if they're going to read this defensive end, who should be a keep read for the quarterback, the inside part of the power read, okay, then this is the way we're going to play it. I'm sorry. So here's the added gap, right? Right here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's slanting anyway, and he's reading that hip. That hip's going away. So he's bending hard, and we want him on that side of the block back of the center anyway. So that's good. That takes away the potential of any quarterback cutback. Done. The slant here should put him in the position to peel and play the quarterback. So the nose, because of the slant, is in a position. He's already played this one gap, the nose in the first level. The nose has that. And so now on the pull call, which is made by the mic, he reads, right, the guard, staying square, the skip pull, right? Little crossover behind so he can stay square and get his eyes over on that play side linebacker. That's the pull. That tells this defensive end not to worry about. You're not getting trapped, brother. So here he comes, shuffle, shuffle, right? Patch and spill. So the 1 is taken care of now, as the 2 is taken care of, and so is the 3, because he follows this rule, patch and spill. Patch the first, there's the first, spill the second, there's the second. Okay? And so now the backer knows he's static, so he's sitting and zitting across the face. He hears the pull call. He's going to fit up there in the 4 gap. Outside. So we have both linebackers on either side of that wrapper. So quarterback, 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 okay? Peel, quarterback, bend, quarterback. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's technically all 5 of those guys are playing a quarterback. So against a team that likes to run the power read because they got a great quarterback running the football, orange is a really nice call. And this is what you got to teach your players. Power read happens opposite the back. Zone read happens to the back. So you got to watch and do your film study and understand formationally if a team does both zone read and power read, when they're more likely to run the power read versus the zone read. Okay? Because they could put the back here and then run power read that way as well. Then it would just been a lucky and reverse the whole thing. D-line slants left. I'm about to show you down here how our outside linebacker executes it when he's on a tight end. Okay, obviously doesn't have the same angle as a detached outside linebacker, but it's still possible. The only thing I want to add here is the safety has to jump the slant of 2 to 1. Other than that, he's playing gray 4. Okay, he's playing gray 4. If it is a power read, it's not really an RPO. That's a lot to try and read. It's either outside run or inside run. Give it to the back for the outside. Keep it quarterback to the inside. Okay, so that's orange. So now over here, playing it out of rotate tag. The only difference, okay, is he's tighter. Instead of being 5 yards wider, he's executing it from here. So it's even more immediate. It's still a Ringo, so these guys are still slanting to the call. He's playing shuffle, right quarterback, being able to fold in. I'm going to use the same color now, sorry. Just it's a little bit easier. And then everything stays the same. So now I'll do the linebackers here in red, right? Shuffle, shuffle, patch, spill. Static, over the top. There we have it, right? Quarterback, 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 right? All 5 of those box defenders, the 3D linemen and the 2 inside linebackers are playing that quarterback. And that's all built into Orange. They all know this. Okay, and if we don't get a power read, we don't get it. It's a little bit even easier. Okay, when they pull that skip pull like that, they're adding it. That's quite a bit. So then they will obviously, the only other difference here in rotate is now your safety's 1/8, so he's even in a better position to play this jump the slant from 2 to 1. Okay, so now what I want to get to is the mob, how the structure change, and how I have to account for that. So a couple of things you got to make sure you teach players. All right, one, first of all, right, we're expecting power read over here opposite the back. That's why we call it Orange. Then the other thing you got to teach your players, I remember Bridgewater State University back 2011. This was their entire offense, essentially. Here, power read or mob motion power read. A great running quarterback. Oh, my God, the kid was a beast. And so they made their money on it. Okay, I mean, we did well, but they beat us 27, I think it was 27-14 that year. We turned the ball over once, had a special teams gaff, and then they got us twice, right? Power read. So we tried to run this Orange. We had success with it. Okay, forced them to get out of it a little bit, but at the end of the day, they came right back to it. So here's what you got to teach your kids. And that was a big part of it. That I can't believe it's 10 years ago coming up this fall, but it was. So each and every week, right? The only mob motion you're going to get is going to come from opposite the back. So you got to make sure your kids always understand who's motion eligible. They should be able to say 1 and 2 over here, coach. Okay, beautiful. Okay, who's mob motion eligible? They should be able to tell you number 2. Same thing over here. They should be able to tell you it's number 2, coach. Because here's why. All right? Mob motion timing. They're going to take an angle. Everybody can tell he's going into the backfield in front of the quarterback. Okay? So now this starts off as a Ringo. Now you got to check Lucky because, right? Orange, blitz opposite the halfback, or mob, wide receiver mob. And see the structure change? It went from 1 back to 2 back. That's a structure change. Okay, so that's a little bit more prevalent when I do this with the rotate tag. Okay, so consequently, I'm going to draw the defense here in red. Check Lucky now. Defensive line is slanting left. Okay, they're just doing what they're told. They're anticipating power read, but they know that they're slanting first, reacting second. And if it's power read, it's power read. If it isn't, it isn't. They react to what happens. Okay, to answer that question. Soon as he starts to move, we got the rabbit call. Let's not forget the rabbit call. So the reaction is he moves inside there because that's where he would be if it were 2 back. See? And that's it. There's not a whole lot of movement or effect on the defense. Now, since it's check Lucky, right? Now this is the outside linebacker. Here's the difference between a detached outside linebacker executing Orange and an attached or the outside linebacker on the tight end. He can't go inside hard, right? First of all, your defensive end is slanting to you. And you don't have a good angle, and if the tight end blocks you, you're going to get pinched, and we don't have anybody for the outside run. So what the defensive end does is he too slants, and he works even more upfield to try and take this away. So now I'll change back to this. Right? Here's the outside run. So that now is how the rover does it. And obviously the running back I shouldn't say obviously, the running back is typically a lead blocker on this, which from the offensive standpoint is a nice changeup. So that is something we usually see because of our safety structure right up here. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's typically what we see. Okay. And by the outside linebacker working up the field hard, if these two cross paths, the outside linebacker keeps his outside arm and leg free and sets the edge right there, hoping to cause a collision and a clog up. To answer that question right there. Okay, so that's the big change up in that respect. And then obviously everything hopefully stays the same. Block back, block down, high wall. Here comes the skip pull, right? And so now he's pushing here. He's slanting and bending, staying on that backfield side of the block back. He's quarterback anyway, right? Now he's shuffle, patch, and spill out there. So we got all the gaps covered and quarterback. Everything stayed the same. Now you don't have a number 2-to-1 slant to worry about. Okay. And the safety is very conscious of not trying to be overly aggressive because the halfback fakes the block, goes downfield, the quarterback fakes it, boop, play action. So we let the rover who is blitzing and responsible for the outside rover, let him set the edge. If the back honestly does everything he can to avoid him, that he's in a position to tackle the running back, and if he continues up the field, he's not soft, but he's also more cognizant, reading the surface. Like the offensive tackle will not be at the linebacker depth if it's the play action pass. He'll block down and he'll stay in the line of scrimmage, which is a key for him. Okay, it's a key for him. The offensive lineman, because they're not engaged with anybody, the skip puller will sit in the B gap. He'll sit there. They're going to do a pretty good job. They might even have the tackle sit and block the defensive end. But it will look different than it does on the run play to our safety. So that's the other key coaching point. Okay? Now over here, we're in rotate. Part of you got to remember, I got to remind you about rotate. Our structure, which is the secondary, matches their structure, which is the backfield. They have one back, we have one safety. Okay? Same deal. Backs over here, coach number 2's the mob eligible, right? So now we get this. Rabbit. Mob, here's the reaction on defense. They go back to their 2-high shell because that's now a 2-back set, right? It went from 1 to 2. So we went from 1 to 2, and that was it. See the minimal adjustment on our end. An outside linebacker here, the same 2 safeties who rotated the number 2 rotate back, hence the rotate tag. Okay? So now it started off as a Ringo. It checks Lucky, right? So he's got the outside run, quarterback, right? So now we're going to get, let me change the color here. Down, back, high wall, try and cut off, skip pull, okay? So now here we'll see if they might start to try and block down on the defensive end. You know, over here, I didn't do anything with it because my focus was the back. You maybe try to drive block the rover or try and down block here. So we'll have drive block there. He's got to get outside of that. Here, he's going to definitely get outside of that. And our defensive end has to penetrate and sit. Can't get washed down. Okay? So now we're here, right? Gonna bend, gonna peel, shuffle, shuffle, patch, spill here. So now, whatever he does, same 5 guys who have the quarterback are in a position to get the quarterback if we properly go from Ringo. Here's the mob. Check it, lucky, 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 and everybody knows. Soon as the mob comes, they rotate back. And again, it's very, very different because he's at typically 4 yards, so he's going to be much deeper to get in a relationship to execute the mesh. Then when it's Mac, they run right behind the offensive line. It's very, very easy to distinguish, and your kids will distinguish it. Okay? So that is orange. That is how one of the ways that we defend the power read. Okay, we'll blitz the outside linebacker opposite the back or mob to take away the outside run, and then we dedicate 5 box defenders to play the quarterback and take him away the inside run. Because honestly, the quarterback inside is the one that usually gashes you. Okay? So as I said at the beginning, to my subscribers, I thank you. And to those who haven't yet, I hope you do. To everyone now, if you have any questions about orange, reach out to me at CoachMJSullivan@gmail.com because I would love to talk football.